logically, I think 1-1 is on the cards, but I'll leave you guys to it.
Oh, thank you very much, Maniac. We're going indeed in towards the second map of this best of 5 semifinal because we want to bring you all the action we can. And let's see if Heretics will be able to bounce back. Of course, first a knife to start things off to see who will be starting on either side. Heretics last time around was able to pick their side, but it didn't really work out. His problem already being tagged up by his teammate.
Quite severely as well. Only 39 HP left. That's only one right click, I believe, and he'll be down.
Yes.
So that is worrying.
Or a double left click will also do the trick.
But we'll see if maybe they can just turn that to their advantage anyway. And with the way the knives are going, I don't think so. Kalinka indeed goes down at the end. And well, Heretics, they once again win the knife round, but let's see if they can this time also string a pistol next to it, because that might be what they need to actually get that map win in there.
Of course, we also have to reiterate the fact that HELLRAISERS in the past map actually won both pistols for themselves, and that's going to be rather annoying for the side of Heretics, because that really makes it harder for you to come back. There's a very good chance that after you win a pistol, there will be a little bit of a string of rounds. Now we do see Heretics, of course, with those USPs. On a long-range situation, you'd always be favored. However, in this tournament, as we do see now as well, there's often a raid boss. This time, it is Kalinka. He has a P250, yet he doesn't have the armor to work with. As it will now be, actually, Kiyoshima being slightly tagged up, most likely on his cross towards B. That doesn't really help him too much, but XMS going aggressive with the USP, gets a first frag, almost a second, but he then over-aggresses and leaves it possible, at least, for Problem to get a refrag.
Yep, and that does actually refrag means that it's still, well, right now it's a 3v3 at that point. It was a 4v4 for a moment, and we'll see now if Heretics can now still get the win in here, if they can still turn this to their advantage. They've also got that defuse kit on Nivera, for example, and now we see him, well, the HELLRAISERS side actually completely pushing through back via spawn, and now probably going for that B site, I'd say. They've still got a 1 to 10, well, 1 minute and 5 second advantage, so plenty of time to still rotate all the way around that map. But we'll see what's going to give now, and if the hold from Heretics on that map will be good enough, it will be lucky on who the pressure will rest. Whilst in the meantime, we also see another player from Heretics coming in and going for that flank potentially. Looking at the sheer speed with which he's running through T-spawn.
That's at least some momentum gain, possibly to help him in towards the rest of this round. But will he be on time? Maka, of course, making a lot of noise, so he needs to be quiet right now because they're not executing just yet. He sees the shadows, he now sees the push to come in, and then he will be right there. That's one. This will be two, and Lucky standing by. Still, of course, the B-side anchor. That's an easy pistol round for Heretics. Well, easy, maybe not really the word.
No,
well, at least it worked in.
I wouldn't say easy, more like intelligent, because that flank was really well played out there, and that just got the important, well, frags there in the end. Look at it once again here in the replay. You see them, they were trying, but then Maka comes in the side, and before the time that they can actually respond, they're already all fragged out. A combination of Lucky and Maka there really coming in clutch and getting the round into the favor of Team Heretics.
Well, of course, now HELLRAISERS being up against it will go for a full eco. On towards Dust 2, you will make do with little utility. And that nade, it is money. 3 players really, really low. Flash and the rest of his team now trying to at least get something out, but Lucky just already on the spray down, gets 3 of his own. With Nivera also to steal 2. Of course, the MP9, a very good investment for himself. And that will mean now a 2-0 lead for Heretics. Yet up against a buy, and JR even able to afford an AWP of his own.
And we'll see now if maybe this will be what JR needs. He does indeed have that AWP in his hands. You can see once again, so much nade damage on the lads from HELLRAISERS means that they don't stand much of a chance here against Heretics. And this is going to be the time really to see if Heretics now will make this the 3-0. And if with that, maybe, just maybe, we'll see HELLRAISERS rather quickly getting shot away from Dust 2.
Dust 2, of course, the map pick of Heretics, as you said before, as nades will fly in. Flares almost going down, but almost is just not good enough. That means he'll just be standing, and that means that with a headshot of the AK, he could still get a frag of his own. And that's a scary part for the side of Heretics. That one player could still rack up kills, and we've seen that happen before in this tournament, where sometimes a unfavored player could still make it work. And looking at the gear from the Heretic side, it also doesn't really bode well for him. UMP on towards Kiyoshima, 2 MP9s, and then 2 M4s against an AWP, and actually 4 AKs to go with it. The big thing that Heretics does have going for him is that they do have more utility. And with low HP, those SMGs could get easier frags. Problem being rather low. One player just around the corner as Kyoshima wanted to go for a pre-fire. He did. He just didn't connect his shot.
That's a shame, but better luck next time, I dare say. Still quite a bit of damage there, though, on the Hellraiser side. Problem tagged up a bit, and Flourish almost knocking on Heaven's door. We'll see now if he gets pushed through that door by one of the Team Heretics players soon enough. Utility now flying in, trying to get onto that A site, but lucky here. He can come in clutch, holding from the corner of long. Lost Nivera in the meantime. He does actually prepare, and the fake is red. Gets one frag. XMS comes in luckily, but it is being turned around a little bit. Frags are being traded up, and the bomb is actually not in the hands of a Hellraiser player right now. Flourish here comes in from mid. Frags out Maka, but he's still so low HP. One bullet from either gun whatsoever would mean that he gets fragged out. And we do see Kyoshima going for that successfully, but now he doesn't anticipate JR's AWP. And that does mean that Hellraiser grab this third round.
The first buy working in their favor, but as Heretics played out the previous round as a bonus, they do still have some money. Free players could buy up, yet Maka and XMS, they don't have that much, so they're now contemplating. Will we go for a force buy here with some SMGs, as you do now see? Or will we go for the pistol armor? Pistol armor, in my regards, would just be a waste, because you know that Hellraiser themselves also bring it into a 1v1, won't have that much money. B comes in on towards JR, he will eventually get the fight and take down Nivera, as that is the opening frag once more in favor of Hellraisers. Nades will do damage once more in favor of Heretics, but they're already one player down, and one of those pistols or SMGs has to move up and get an AWP. XMS will, as Problem takes down Maka, but there will be a refrag coming in from Kyoshima. Will it be enough, however? No, because Flares takes down XMS, and lucky he will actually take down two, so never mind. He's proving me wrong.
Sometimes, you know, you just quite simply are wrong. There's not much to do about it. It's a fact of life. But let's see now, though, who really ends up being Riker Linker. That's an aggressive push there onto Lucky. But, well, luckily for him, it works out. It leaves only Kyoshima here, going towards top mid. Keeping his eyes wary at, of course, mid doors, but also here towards Suicide. And JR might just frag him out in a moment. Although he shouldn't be able to have that angle on short now. And, oh, why would you go for that?
Because jumping headshots look cool, RJ.
Yeah, they look cool, but, you know, good luck trying to pull them off. That's the second round for Hellraisers now, and of course they already have one map, but this is a more critical map now as well for Heretics, because this is their own map pick, so they should most certainly get this, especially, you know, I did line out this possibility when we started this match. I did line out the chance maybe, if Hellraisers got these first two maps, that going onto Mirage, which is just a terrible map for Heretics looking at their track record, that maybe, just maybe, Hellraisers could make this a completely unexpected trio.
Well, XMS already being tagged down by some nades towards 41 HP. There will be a stack towards this A-short area, but the AKs, they're racking up kills. It's Heretics not being able to put anything in return apart from some damage towards Flash, because the mech dead on towards range, not really the best weapon. But it pulls through in the end, and now we have a lead for Hellraisers. A 3-2 scoreline. And Heretics, they're in trouble, because now they can buy, of course. Yet Hellraisers already showing up quite strongly and having some interesting tactics to go with. It's maybe a little bit of a scary thing for those French players. Moving through in towards this map, and then towards the next map might be yet another punish for them. So there's a very good chance that Hellraisers could theoretically close it out in a 3-0, which would be detrimental for Heretics, as we said they are a very big contender for the title. Or maybe if Heretics can bounce back later on in towards this map, they will be able to bring it into their favor, do moderately well towards Mirage, because we don't really believe that is their map, and then hopefully battle it out on Nuke.
We'll have to see in a moment, as this round right now looks like it could still be anyone's game. Kalinga here, he's holding his tunnel. Oh, well, he's preparing for a potential tunnel. Oh, that is a nice attempt, but that doesn't work out whatsoever. Now, Varen and XMS both anticipating a player there almost, and now completely pushing through tunnels, gaining that control, and now actually pincering in from both the T-spawn and the tunnels position. This could be a very nasty surprise to Hellraisers if they don't anticipate this. They might get the bomb down now, although looking at how this is being held off by Kyoshima, Problem does get that refrag in there, but now he's flashed off, and oh, JR, that was right on time.
That's a very good save as Nivera will go low. Another shot from the AWP to come in, but Lucky once more the savior on the Heretics side. He's just managing to get kills and time again. He pulls through for his team. A 3-3 scoreline. And I dare to say that if Lucky wasn't here at this moment in time, it would have been so far already possibly a 5-1 for HELLRAISERS, because they are seemingly stronger, yet Lucky is that man to spray them down. He's already on towards 10 frags, and this is quite interesting. As of course we heard from Maniac, and of course we know from previous experience, he's more of that support player. Not really the stellar guy on their team, yet so far he's doing the work.
We'll have to see now if more work gets done by either side. Right now, it definitely looks to be Heretics that need to put in the most work to try and make sure that this map goes to them, because it's still pretty close up at this point. You know, we've got a 3-3 round score. So, honestly, this is still anyone's game at this point, and it's Dust 2, you know? It's a lovely classic map. We like Dust 2. We've seen quite a bit of Dust 2 in it, and really, it could still, regardless of the statistics, and they are pretty close, become, for example, HELLRAISERS map. But now, problem, he starts it off well, make it a triple! That was a lovely flick around. Very well played by him, and now they've got complete B-bomb site control.
Insane spray there from Problem here. First taking down the player at the doors, then in the window, and then just turning around casually almost towards CT to get his third. And that means all the pressure towards the B side has been negated. And then Heretics will, of course, then go for a save. They don't have any money, but they do have 2 rifles with armor and even a defuse kit and a little bit of utility. Kyoshima standing by, of course, he wouldn't mind to upgrade towards an AK, which, of course, is always the favorite rifle over that M4 for every player that plays Counter-Strike almost, unless if you don't know how to control a spray.
Wow, that's harsh.
Well, it's the truth.
No,
like, why wouldn't you go for an AK over an M4?
No, I absolutely agree, because, you know, obviously that AK, it has that one-tap headshot kill, which the M4 doesn't have, so it is quite simply the better weapon indeed. I absolutely agree. But, well, there's some silly people in the world, you know? Some people do prefer that M4 for some Lord knows reason.
Well, the first 2-shot accuracy is a little bit more safer, and that might help you, at least in that moment in time. Problem will get indeed that 3 frags. It was beautiful. And of course it helped him to win the round. And now we do see a financial situation for Heretics, which doesn't really benefit them. They have, of course, those 2 rifles, which we talked about before. Kyoshima even bought an incendiary. And they'll still have a little bit of a struggle to go up against his bias. The rest of the team only has USPs. They're splitting up. They're trying to at least keep some control with Kyoshima on towards A long. And maybe he can make it work. But they're banking on the USPs to do the work on towards that B side, and that's not really something to bank on, especially as we now do also see Heretics moving in with those AKs, sneaking through mid, and Nivera might spot them relatively soon. Lucky gets the first track on towards JR, but Problem once more with the opening kill, make that a double. And now we only see those 2 rifles once more in favor of the side of HELLRAISERS. As well, Lucky gets 2 frags of his own as they do try to move in towards the side. That's a triple kill so far. He even picks up a molly, which makes it easier to possibly flush out Galinka. And they don't know that Flares is currently still at the mid doors. He's soon to move in, as there will be some utility to fly out. And here is his moment to shine. Gets the first frag, spray transfer onto towards the next. And that's a 5-2. HELLRAISERS do make it work. And they are once more even further in the lead, despite Heretics making it rather close in a very, very cheap round.
I do look at this now, and I start to worry a little bit, I'd almost say. Now, HELLRAISERS, they are doing a solid job so far. They've got that 2-round advantage now, and they could definitely extend this. I will say, though, Lime, that's... oh, no, he just has to pick up the weapon, never mind. But we'll see if they can keep this going now, because they're on the T side. You would say CT side is preferred. On Dust 2 as well, maybe just a little bit. And I wonder, really, if HELLRAISERS can put down a strong T side once again, if we're looking at another 8-7 scoreline, then maybe I could, you know, really expect this to be going in their favor. And once again, you know, that is worrying.
Oh,
like,
yes.
you cannot give off your own map pick onto, well, 2 HELLRAISERS now, especially not when the next map up is going to be Mirage. This is pretty equal playing field. This is actually, Dust 2 is actually a little bit favored for HELLRAISERS even. But it's only that 5% difference. And here we go. Problem opens it up. Kyoshima does now go down by his hands. I'll have to see in a moment. Flourish, he's moving around. And indeed, Kalinka gets that frag in the end as well. It's a refrag, but it's still one man less on the Heretics side. Lucky though, holds off well, goes for the lovely flick around, make it a triple once again. And we do love seeing those triples so much if the players can flick around so well. And that leaves only JR. A clutch AWP shot? Maybe two? Nope, it's the clutch AWP shot from Nivera coming in. He frags him out and HELLRAISERS do lose this round. Make it the 4 rounds for Heretics and the 5 for HELLRAISERS. Just 1 to catch up for Heretics now.
Once again, Lucky just standing on towards side and anchoring it down. The second player, Kalinka, he should have had a frag. No question about it. But still, Lucky's just playing well. Getting those 2 frags and turning on towards the third car and just waiting. Not over-peeking against JR, not giving them a chance to bring it in towards the 1v2. And with that AWP on towards range, you can still make it work. However, now we do see Nivera trying to re-peek against JR. That doesn't work out well. Flashbangs, however, they are strong. Even D-flashes for the team. As now HELLRAISERS flashes themselves out, and it will be Nivera falling, but XMS with a triple kill. JR going for yet another aggressive play. He's feeling confident. And his AWP on towards close range could still be, quite strong. Back out with the no-scope flick as JR misses his no-scope. Awkward.
Yep, that's always awkward. But oh well. Flowage now last man standing, and standing he does not, as he, well, doesn't really have much of a chance against the hold there by Heretics. They grab their 5th round. And as we look towards the future, we see this becoming still quite close. Equal footing for the both of these teams. 5 rounds for either side. And maybe, just maybe, it could be HELLRAISERS now after losing the Seago coming back on top. Or it could, of course, be Heretics continuing now, putting the pressure down on HELLRAISERS and really showing them who really is the boss of Dust 2.
At least they're back to an equal score, and looking at the money from the HELLRAISERS side, I will have to go for an eco. That doesn't help them. They had some great momentum, but they're actually forcing it up, RJ.
Oh.
This is interesting. This is, of course, looking at their spawn, they have a very good B-rush spawn. So
True.
they might make it work. They might just go for this aggression once more. But the improvement, from my point onwards, don't team flash each other. Because 2 of those frags from XMS were actually acknowledged with a team flash assist.
You hate seeing that missed no-scope again, though. But indeed, yeah, you are right. They are very solidly spawned for a B-rush, even. The question is, aren't Heretics going to be prepared for that once again? They should kind of know from at least a decent enough economy read that they are going to be on eco right now. So you'd almost, you know, expect 2 maybe, or even 3 players going towards that B site now. Let's have a look-see. Oh. No, that's a play going aggressively on mid, actually.
There's one in lower tunnel. That might be key still. But the nades there are being waited upon by the side of HELLRAISERS, setting up for their execute. The player in lower tunnels is actually the AWP, so not really the player you would aggress at that moment in time, as he's still biting. He's throwing a molly as well, and it's almost as if they know HELLRAISERS will be there. And why would they? There's a player on the short, there's a player at long door. So you would expect a rotate to come in, and thus Maka will have the opening frag. He will get a second as well. XMS still biding this time, will get a follow-up before being deagled out by Flarich. But that's the only frag they get on the HELLRAISERS side on this force buy. Now, at least they have to eco, right?
Right? No, they definitely aren't going to force this out again, I think.
It would be so weird.
That would be the silliest thing to do. Right now, though, that does mean we see Heretics grabbing the advantage here. And HELLRAISERS now going on that, well, I believe, just at the very best pistol upgrade. Yep, indeed. Oh, full deagles even. Delicious. We'll see now what they can actually do with those deagles, of course.
He actually tags up Nivera.
Wait, really? Oh, no, I didn't even... Oh, no. Oh, that's such a bad start. Oh, I hope for Heretics that isn't going to set the tone for the rest of the round now. Just being tagged up by that deagle for starters would be a nasty way to get your round started. Lucky there, takes out Lime. JR's looking, but can't actually deal any more damage. But we do see the members from Team Heretics tagged up just a little bit. But now, let's see what they actually do with those tags. If they can convert them into anything. If it is now going to be just Heretics rather decisively fragging them out of short.
It's a decent nade, and there's another one, yet it deals a little bit less damage. Problem holding an angle towards Merlin and biding his time. He's expecting Heretics to go aggressive whilst they have a player advantage and know that they are playing against the Eagles. Wouldn't expect that from the side of Heretics, but, well, you never know. Maka holding the angle with the AWP, seeing a player move in. Flares, it's a great pre-fire. Lucky will now get, of course, 2 frags of his own. Tries to go for a third. He will get it as well as Kiyoshima takes on JR. It's already the flank coming through the short area. That means we have a 7-5 lead in the favor of Heretics. Of course, taking that AWP of Maka with. And now up against a full set of AKs. But AWP for JR really worked out well. So I'm not really certain as to why on the previous round, of course, they're forced by, he didn't save a little bit more so he could have that AWP for himself and his team.
Questions that even the best scientists don't have answers to. Brought to you by Giada Goldesma. We'll have to see, you know, that's not something we'll probably know, but right now we're just going to have to see how this next round gets played out. It's the opportunity for Heretics now to grab the 8th round and with that a solid first half advantage. But it could still be turned back around. We see that damage coming in. Oh, problem here. That's a risky move to actually go through to mid because you are going to get outpeaked, and indeed, Lucky does so as he frags out problem. And now we'll see HELLRAISERS with almost 2 people less because Lime has only got 1 HP left to play with. And that's not quite a lot to work with, you know. Once again, you know, you don't have to be a mathematician to know that 1 isn't a very big number.
Say what now? Unless if you're looking on a scale from 0 to 1. As Maka gets a frag on towards Kalinka. There will be a molly, of course, to come in just to delay them and at least delay Lime because he can't move through again. Nifera takes down JR as he has been split by the rest of his team. Of course, by the use of that molly. Flares moves in, Lime and he will both get a frag, but Nifera once more following up with the AWP, getting lost as well. Interesting to see, especially from Heretics, the synergy on towards their utility towards mid. First, there was of course the AWP peeking quite aggressively. Then, you saw some nades fly in. First one frag grenade, then a molly to come down. And then they heard there was a player there. So the player on mid also started to bang the door. Then another nade comes in and Lime almost fell down. So that was quite strong, quite convincingly, that it could have actually been a 2-man advantage going forward in towards the round. After, of course, also Problem went for the aggression solo. And partially, him going solo was due to Lime being so low. Maka now gets another frag for himself. Also, the Deagle in hand. And so far, it seems as HELLRAISERS had a very good streak from the get-go, but aren't able to convert later on. Kalinka gets 2 as Maka goes way too aggressive. And Kalinka might just get a little bit more, yet Kiyoshima will punish him. We see a 9-5 scoreline come in. We should not have doubted the side of Heretics, as they are quite strong on Dust too.
Absolutely, you know, this might be their map, finally their chance to start showing up now. Especially some of their players being clutch as well, you know, I look at, well, you know, the kill amounts that you can see here as well. Lucky, look how much he really just sticks out above the rest right now. Equally, you can also say, look how much XMS and Kiyoshima are at the bottom, so to speak, with a rather weak kill amount so far. Although maybe in the second half that will be changed up a bit, and Maka, at just the right time, he decides to click on that left mouse button and fire his shot. Takes out 1 player on the HELLRAISERS side, and once again gives them a bad start to this round. Lucky here. Ooh, that nade could be critical. Doesn't end up dealing any damage because Lime does fall back on time.
Nifera, however, has been tagged up to 15 HP, and you're so happy about that rhyme.
That little rhyme.
Because you were really in time. It's going to be a 5-4 so far. It seems as if Heretics is leading the score. Yet they're trying to cling on, and, well, it goes on and on and on as Kiyoshima will get a frag on towards Lime, leaving only 3 players alive. It's JR with that scout trying to at least do something in return, and he gets a very good smoke bang on towards Kiyoshima, yet it doesn't result in a kill. And that's a big problem so far. HELLRAISERS is able to deal some damage every now and then, but the kills they are lacking in those opening kills, they keep coming from, for instance, Maka and Nifera with those 2 AWPs. Maka standing by on towards his side together with Lucky. So if he would fall, at least he has some support to bank on, as there will be the shot to come in. That's the first frag. 1 more player moving in, and he will actually get a refrag, but Lucky, very good spray through the smoke, and XMS with the outer sniper, the Scar, getting the last frag.
I'm already getting very, very lovely flashbacks when I see an auto sniper on Dust 2. I don't think I'm ever going to forget that. I don't think that I'm going to forget that map anytime soon.
well, it's still a very good half for the side of Heretics. Look at their streak later on in this half. First, they had a little bit of a scuffle. They were even behind 5-3 at a certain point. But they equalized the score and never let go anymore. And their money as well. Insanely high on some players because they really managed to hold on for themselves. Didn't over-aggress with many players. And it seems as if HELLRAISERS now on the CT side needs to win the pistol to at least get anything going for themselves.
Oh, that's the bare minimum, honestly, for HELLRAISERS to indeed win that pistol round. If they don't win that, then they're already going to be pushed down a little bit with their momentum, and they're going to have a guaranteed maybe next round loss looking forwards at them as well. So I'd say that right now that pistol round is going to be pretty decisive. It could be Heretics their chance to really seal the deal and start working on finishing it off, or it could be HELLRAISERS their chance to really start working on a comeback.
But look at this, 2 players have pushed through mid, but Problem will go down. There's still yet another one waiting. There's going to be Heretics committing for that B play at the moment in time. They're still trying to deal with this. Lime and Kalinka will actually get a frag. Kyoshima goes down. Very good taps to come in from Nightbera once more, of a Deagle rather, as he is an insane raid boss in this round. And the bomb will now be planted. JR coming from the tunnels area, and that Deagle might not really be in favor, yet it deals a lot of damage. As JR is now trying to reload, Lime will be there as well with a frag on towards Lucky. Now a 2-on-3 in favor of the HELLRAISERS side with Nightbera going down. Maka in a 1v2. He can make it work. Lime with yet another frag of his own as a triple kill in this pistol. And HELLRAISERS at least get this going for him, and possibly even the following rounds as well.
And indeed, we'll have to see now if the CT pistol round makes that much of a difference. First time that we see the pistol rounds being equally divided on both sides. Of course, on Inferno, it was a rather decisive HELLRAISERS pistol round case. You know, they got both the CT and the T side pistol round. And with that, they, in the end, got the map win. But we'll see now. HELLRAISERS, they could come back on this now. We see Heretics, they go for that eco instead, it seems. And that's a decision that you don't really see that often anymore, especially not when they got the bomb planted.
Well, they did that in the previous map as well, and it seems to be working out moderately well. At least they gave a little bit of room to their opponents, but from the point they can buy, they will have everything their heart desires. Still some pistol upgrades, of course, trying to deal some damage as Maka goes down to Lime. And the deal of XMS currently not connecting. No damage being dealt by that T side of Heretics. And HELLRAISERS, they're just waiting. Waiting for the pushes to come in and, of course, the angles to be created. Kyoshima takes down Lucky. XMS now finally with a frag of his own. Wants to go for the player onto her side, but JR just a little bit too quick with the scout. Brings it in towards a 4-on-2. Now pushing with his Deagle as well. Gets another one, and damage being dealt to Kyoshima. That's a good triple and a good 7th round. As JR actually gets the M4 being dropped by Lime earlier on.
And indeed, HELLRAISERS really starting to bridge the gap now, I would say. And with that, we'll see if they can push it towards that 10th round that they so much need to actually get on equal footing. It is still quite the, well, serious challenge even that they've got ahead of them.
It's quite far away, but at least now Maka has the AWP. And, well, they're doing well, as they could actually get some map control with this. On the other side of HELLRAISERS, there's an MP9, a FAMAS, and then 2 M4s to work with. It's decent equipment. And if they manage to use their utility properly, like they do right now, almost killing Lucky, they could really get this round in their favor. Yeah, they shouldn't over-aggress, and there's currently a player in the long doors. JR is moving up, and he's not being spotted, I think. Kyoshima just going for a regular pre-fire. The moment he goes for yet another reload, there might be a push coming in from the T-side player. JR still biding his time, just waiting for Kyoshima to move away. And he will do that sometime later on. One day, maybe soon.
Eventually. Maybe soon, maybe not. Maybe it's none of your business. Oh, but we'll see in a moment. He does push ahead, actually. Maka there gets the frag of Lime in the meantime. JR, though, he does end up getting Kyoshima taken out. Heretics heavily tagged up there, both Maka and Lucky, so that is a bit of a danger. There aren't any mollies anymore in the hands of, or there is still that one molly in the hands of Kalinka, but no nades anymore in the hands of HELLRAISERS. We'll see now if, well, whatever utility that they do have will be used well to make sure that these Heretics players never make it out of tunnels alive. And indeed, oh, Lucky. That's, I believe he was tagged up just a little
Oh yeah,
bit by
he
the
has 3
molly.
HP and now he has only 2 as we do see problems sending by the MP9 as the first frag, maybe a second as well, and indeed it will be. Nivera will get a refrag, but Kalinka, of course, standing by with the FAMAS, makes it in towards a 3-on-1, and Maka says, I'll just go for a save. I think that's the best shot, and well, it seems to be it. It's going to be 10-8. HELLRAISERS closing the gap ever so slightly, and HERETICS yet to win a round on their second half.
Maka now, he can recover that AWP. That is pretty worthwhile, and we'll see how that manages to well, work into HERETICS their plans in the next round now, where obviously they still won't really have the best of buys. You can see how they've already gone through the majority of their reserves now. You took that quick peek in the replay at their economy situation. Problem here, holds it off well, and in the end, you know, it was only really Nivera that could get that one frag there, really could make the difference. Now Maka does try with that AWP, but not really succeed so far. As oh, dualies. Okay.
Yeah, boy!
You like seeing those, don't you?
Oh, yes, I do. There will be that AWP, of course, still saved by Maka, and that means that if they do lose the round with a pistol armor to come in, they won't really be able to buy in full for every player in the next round. A bomb plant, that would really help him. And then Maka could possibly go for a scout, a Galil, maybe even an AK if he's lucky. But the rest of his team really needs to make it work as well. Utility now going out on towards mid, trying to contest around that position. As Maka with the AWP is moving up around short. There's actually no player contesting, so he can move rather close. But in CT, there is now one. And also at car, there is a player standing by. Of course, the first frag comes in, but JR will be ready for a refrag, as the dualies will not be succeeding as of yet. It's going to be XMS picking up that AWP, but losing yet another teammate. He wants to go for that repeat, but it's currently not being granted by the side of HELLRAISERS, but at least they do get that bomb plant. Utility will be there. That's the molly flying in on towards XMS, now spotting out the AWP player from HELLRAISERS as well, but JR, he's specialized. He's really good. He gets another frag. That leaves only Kiyoshima alive. And possibly even a 4K for JR if he just holds down the angle. And it's going to be, well, Kiyoshima saving his deagle. Of course, at least you have the armor. So then he could buy an AWP for Maka and go for an AK himself. The loss bonus, well, quite high for the side of HERETICS.
Oh.
And they were at least able to do some decent damage.
Quite high. I'd even say that's the maximum I saw there for a moment. All 4 ticks and the whopping 3,400.
A boom.
I was almost going to say $34,000. You know, $1,000. That would be a little bit high for a loss bonus, now wouldn't it be?
Well, just a little bit.
Just a tad.
At least you
know?
can always buy them.
True.
It's going to be a very good balancing move from the side of Valve if that would come out. Not really.
Not really. Let's see now, though, speaking of balancing moves, if HELLRAISERS can balance this out to the 10-10 scoreline. They just need to get one more round for that, and they would also keep the pressure down on HERETICS, seeing as they do not have that many reserves left. Although, of course, due to their considerable loss bonus, they could still make this work in the next round.
What a great flash to come in from Maka.
Yeah, that's...
We've all been there. And just blame it on the lag or whatever, as Lime is trying to push up, but lucky he's standing by. They expect the player quite often, if you do go for that smoke, to push in the back, because quite often it also means a short take to come in. It might for the side of HERETICS, as they're currently setting up for an A split. Yet there's still 3 players standing by towards that A side. Of course, they are with the AWP, a force to be reckoned with, as they've encountered in the past round as well. He's just standing on towards ramp, holding the angle towards short, but if they do lose long control with the 3 players moving in from HERETICS, it might turn out to be a disaster on the HELLRAISERS side. Player standing with a knife now, picking up his AK once more, and he's ready to fight with a flashbang of his teammate. Going for some cheeky peeks, but he just can't hit the shot. Another flashbang comes in, but he will fall to Lucky. One more flashbang now from the side of HERETICS as JR goes down after being barbecued. Kalinka still in Goose. And will he be able to get the frag? Apparently 2 players from HERETICS are already chasing because they're expecting a save, but they still don't know this player is here. And look at the time, 50 seconds he gets that. Another frag, and there's nobody really close to get a bomb in time. However, Kiyoshima still luckily on long, able to convert it in towards a frag, but this could have been very sloppy from HERETICS.
Yeah, Kalinka there could have really played out the time well, but the problem was, to be fair, I would have preferred him to kind of go to CT and try maybe like keep his eyes on short, because with long, he was really just having his entire back exposed. You can see it here. He was maybe actually trying to go there, but By the time, no, he tried to flash himself in, but it popped too late.
I think he figured that the player from short would be the soonest to be back.
Yeah.
And if there's not a player on long when he peeks in, there most likely won't be another player there. Again, Kyoshima's already standing by for a flank to come in. Now we do see, of course, a buy from HELLRAISERS. AWP on towards JR. Some enforced and MP9 on towards Problem. But as Lime now goes down to XMS and is tapping, will not be in towards this round anymore. And Galinka, ooh. This is that CT side aggression we talked about after seeing them go so strong on Inferno. Will it also be working out on Dust 2? Well, at least they get some control, but they don't really manage to get the frags out of it. And that's really something they need to improve. He's coming down from the HELLRAISER side, trying to at least deal some damage. Flashbangs as well. It's going to be Flares taking down the first player, but will fall to Nevera. XMS standing close towards the crossover position. There's a player in the smoke with the MP9. It's Problem. And as JR now takes down XMS, there might be a push coming because JR gets to get another frag. He will be taken out by Lucky, but he has only got 3 bullets left. This Problem will be waited upon by Maka and Galinka also, meaning 12-9. Heretics actually extending their lead ever so slightly and forcing their opponents on the HELLRAISER side on towards an eco.
And indeed, with that, we see HELLRAISERS now, whilst they were really working on a comeback, and they, I believe, did actually get that 4-round streak in, they've now kind of lost that once again, with Heretics kind of throwing it back with their own 2 rounds now. We'll see if Heretics can extend their lead, make that the perhaps 39 now, start working towards that 15-9 or something in the ballpark of 15-10 perhaps, and then rather swiftly finish out this second map, obviously in their favor, because otherwise things would be looking quite grim for them, I believe.
Oh yes, well, Flash is at least trying to get a headshot in or maybe some more damage. He will tag up XMS as the dink indeed came through. Lucky as well now being dinked. Maybe a little bit of over-aggression from the side of Heretics, but it works out. They have now 2 opening frags. What's remaining? Well, 3 basic pistols. They're trying to hold down mid with all the players. They're moving in, and at least they knew damage was being dealt, and Lion was able to take down 1. But 1 frag, it doesn't mean as much, especially as you do see that Heretics is quite well with managing their money. XMS will buy up whatever he can. He now has nothing left in his pocket, but the rest of his team around the 5,000 to 6,000 mark. And that's quite stable. At least if they do lose a round, they can buy on most players, possibly even all if they do get a bomb plant in. And that means that there's a little bit of a hesitation from the side of HELLRAISERS how to approach it. Of course, they're buying up. They have an AWP. They have some M4s to work with. But just looking at Flash's money right now, not all the utility in the world. And that doesn't really bode well for him.
Indeed, and I do think that maybe that could just as much mean that this could become Heretics their 14th round. And then it is starting to get into dangerous territory. Now, I do believe that HELLRAISERS has the potential to still make this into double digits for them. They can get to that 10th round eventually. But the question is, will it be on time? Won't it be when Heretics is already so close to taking over, the map and winning it out in 1 round? We'll have to see now. It might depend on Flash again, but he's flashed off well, and now they have the intel. They know he's there. And he is in a nasty position as, he does get the 1 frag on Kiyoshima. In the meantime, he goes down, but now he's forced into this engagement, and he keeps, he tries to hold. Kalinka comes in, though, luckily enough, gets a double kill even. And Maka refrags him with the USP, no less. And suddenly, there are only 2 people left on both sides. Nivera takes out Problem, so make that 1 guy left. The lovely JR. Someone who has quite the history behind him, who can be an absolutely insane player. But then Maka just shows up and he's like, tap, tap, boom, problem solved.
And the big thing was, of course, JR being a glass cannon AWP makes it a little bit easier to get a 1-tap in with the USP and, of course, get around in favor of Heretics. It was scary, it was close. And what will we now expect to see from the HELLRAISER side? Well, you dare to say maybe a pistol armor, trying to save it out and then play for overtime. Yet overtime, it's a very long time away because they need to win then 6 rounds in a row. With, of course, Heretics having a lot of money, so they can rebuy regardless if they do lose a round. As we do now see actually Problem taking down Lucky. He will go down to Kiyoshima, however. As Lime will also spam through the smoke and go down himself. That means we're back to a 3-on-3. Make that a 3-on-2 after a single frag. Kalinka went down, but JR, he takes down Nivera on towards top mid. And this is a problem we've seen before with Heretics, playing sloppy against ecos or pistol armors, splitting up a little bit too much. And that means there's a very good chance for the side of HELLRAISERS to single out players. And then those Deagles can really make it work. You saw it from JR. He got a frag, then fell back deeply on towards mid. And that's really, really scary for the side of HELLRAISERS. Or Heretics, rather. Because HELLRAISERS at least still has that control. Heretics, they have no clue where the player is, so they're wasting time trying to find him. There is more than enough time. So at least they can still come back and try to make something work. But it's Heretics really losing out on towards this round, especially financially, possibly even just the round itself. Smokes will come down on towards cross. They spot the player on towards the side, but JR through the smoke takes down SMS. Bomb now dropped and a 1v2 for Kiyoshima. He makes it in towards a 1v1, and JR is coming from that short position, but Kiyoshima, he's scared that he might be coming from the CT area. And JR is already on towards the short position. He's on towards the catwalk. Kiyoshima now sees him, has 11 bullets. Has some damage being dealt, and now just a simple pop flash. He'll try to peek in. He will be more flash than JR is. And JR is moving in towards Berlin, and Kiyoshima, you just wasted the last of your bullets in your AK. Goes in with the CZ and he loses it. And Heretics, you're literally throwing around, I have to say.
I can't believe he should have just committed. I would have even committed to
a reload.
Yeah, just reloading that AK. I think he'd have risked that because he was still all the way by Merlin.
Yeah, and of course, JR also expending quite some ammo himself. Had to go for a reload anytime soon, you dare to say.
Oh, my lord. They just threw away map point. Look at this.
It's so sloppy.
Because also, JR, he didn't even have armor. 25 HP. And he does still get the chance to just completely shoot Kiyoshima down with that Deagle. Relentless. But we will have to see now what they make out of it. Oh, Flowers here, he is heavily pushed through. Get the lineup, make it a triple kill for him. Solidly played out. Maka in the meantime goes down, and it's only Lucky left. And, well, not so lucky now, you can say, as he is the last man standing, and he doesn't even seem to be winning his battles.
Well, he gets one on towards Kalinka, but the problem instantly there for a refrag. This might be one of those cases where, as we saw in the previous map on Inferno, that the side of Heretics loses a round, which they shouldn't lose. E.g. that 5-2 on towards the A side of Inferno. And then also this round, a pistol armor where HELLRAISERS said, well, we're playing for overtime, we'll see what we can get out of this and actually win the round in a 1v1. It's scary. Heretics, they're now even on an eco. That means the gap will be smaller by, of course, the next round, as we don't really expect this round to go in favor of the Heretic side. JR, of course, starting things off as well, and then the bomb being dropped by none other than Kalinka.
But why is the bomb
solo? Nobody knows.
That's just like, I get that you're on eco, right? So you're already thinking, well, you know, whatever, we'll just make the best out of it. But that's still not an excuse for just saying, like, okay, so you've got the bomb, just go to tunnels and try something. Like, that is just a most unnecessary risk. At least try and move as a team, even if you're playing an eco. Try and move it as a team. Maybe you could open out a bomb site for just long enough to just commit to the plant at least. And you'll get yourself some extra cash, but clearly that's not what Heretics is playing for. They seem to be wanting to throw it away instead. But now we'll see if they will throw away their cash in this next round or if they will use their buy successfully.
A loss on this round for Heretics without a bomb plant at least would mean yet another pistol armor or eco and possibly the equalizer for HELLRAISERS. From that point onwards, it's going to be scary close, but we also have to mention that at this moment in time, HELLRAISERS is building some reserves. That means that if they do lose a round, they'll at least be able to buy back better than they used to be. Oh, HELLRAISERS, how are you this good? And Heretics, why do you throw away some rounds which you shouldn't lose? Maka will be standing by the AWP, trying to chase down a player in towards the CT area. There will be a flash coming in. Maka will try to dodge that flash. He will. The line still in that CT area will get one frag. Actually, no more contest coming down from the Heretics member. Says there will be a push coming in from Lime, and that's a little bit unnecessary. He could have stayed alive. He could have had a decent round regardless. And now they've lost their advantage, and we do see Heretics still rather split. Test the waters on towards a short with a bomb, now committing there, and the rest of the team slowly coming in.
And Lucky here holding from Catwalk, does miss in the end and does manage to take someone out. Kalinka goes for a couple of sprays through the doors, but not too sure actually if he did tag up Nivera a little bit, but I don't believe he did. I think that damage came from something else. See JR Holding off short. Sees a smoke pop up. Probably wondering right now, that's mighty peculiar.
Are they coming along?
They might just be coming via short indeed, and Long in the meantime gets held off by those two other players. Kiyoshima there, he could provide a nasty surprise, but he has to get the frags for that, and right now it's looking quite risky. He tries to go for that wall bang, but the HELLRAISERS players don't really get particularly tagged up.
Second set of utility coming in. Kalinka standing wise. Should go for those headshots, but XMS just a little bit too quick. He takes out one, but the AWP will be standing by. However, JR missing that shot and also now going for the wallbang that just can't connect on towards the head of XMS. A 4-on-3 off to plan situation. And Kiyoshima actually not even going by along as Nivera takes on JR. This might be the round for Heretics. It should be the round for Heretics. Who am I kidding? It's XMS with another frag on Dur's problem. As now Flares is the sole member alive and, well, he seems to be saving. Of course, they have the money to rebuy on the HELLRAISERS side, but the pressure is on because they don't have all that much. Kalinka, he needs to drop. And Flares is maybe the man to give him that rifle, as he should go and get this extra frag and stay alive for the time being. Yet Kiyoshima is going in and he gets the last frag in the end. And now we do see JR, of course, having to bank on that AWP buy. Fine, he might be the man to drop for his teammates, so that does mean they will be moderately well set. It's still a little bit scary for the side of HELLRAISERS. They know they're now up against a map point, and this could be the equalizer map-wise.
I must see indeed. I believe that it should be the equalizer at this point. You know, HELLRAISERS, they are pushed down far enough. They do have a very solid buy now this time around. The only thing really lacking, a couple of reviews kits maybe, and some head armor. Ooh, Kalinka there. Did he get wallbanged?
Oh, yes, indeed. Through the doors as he jumped through towards the B side. And JR is saying, well, I also have an AWP. I can get something. They can really take into account that people just run through mid like they normally sometimes do. Another frag from Lucky makes it into a more favorable position for the side of Heretics as they eventually now close out the round quite quickly. And that's quite interesting to say the least, because I wouldn't have expected it to go this quickly, especially with the buy from HELLRAISERS and those AWPs to slowly come in.